What if I told you I have a way to always get an open attacking game against Caro-Kann defense players? I feel like I've tried everything trying to attack the Caro-Kann. I've tried the fantasy, the two knights, the tall, but what I've had the most success with by far is what I consider to be the Achilles heel of the Caro-Kann defense player. If you've researched Caro theory before, you've probably seen the Panov Attack. With c4, we're going to be playing something very similar but with much less theory. Instead of playing d4 on our second move, we're going to start with c4, creating a bind on the d5 square. This is the Accelerated Panov Attack, and the move order we're going to use is going to guarantee we never transpose into the normal Panov Attack. That's right. Instead of figuring out how to attack the annoyingly solid Caro-Kann pawn structure, why not just forbid them from getting into it in the first place? Another reason you should play this line is because there's a really cool gambit you can try and blitz after e5, but unfortunately it's probably not that good in slower chess. In this video, I'll be going over the basic ideas in our system, talking about pawn structure, how to attack, how to develop our pieces, and also addressing some less common sidelines. Also, really quickly, as of recording, the poll is currently tied between the Caro-Kann and the Benoni, so what I decided to do is I'm going to put out the Caro first, because it should be much quicker. I would expect it to be maybe a three-parter, like the Scandinavian defense, but don't quote me on that. And then I'll do the Benoni immediately after. So what's the idea behind c4? Well, we create a bind on the d5 square. So when the Caro-Kann player plays d5, instead of capturing once, we can capture twice. So which way should we capture first? What we're going to be doing is we're going to start by capturing with our c-pawn. First thing to note is if you look at the Masters database, almost everyone is capturing with their e-pawn first. The reason I don't like this is because I know for a fact after knight f6, we're in the Panov transfer. This line I believe is also known as the Scandinavian gambit. It's extremely dangerous for white, so if black happens to know the theory here, we might be cooked. And I would say it's pretty likely that they do. I discussed this briefly in the Scandinavian defense for white series. There are a lot of Caro players who started as Scandi players because the two share so many themes. So instead, I would like to avoid that like the plague and first recapture with our c-pawn. 99% of players will recapture, will capture that pawn back. First thing to note here is pretty much every beginner is just going to recapture with their queen, which is inaccurate for very obvious reasons. We can just develop our knight with tempo. Most people will just undevelop their queen, and from here, this just plays like any normal gambit. We have an extremely easy to play attacking position. Without even sacrificing a pawn, we have these nice open files, and at the very least, we're going to have an extremely easy game. And considering our opponent is a Caro-Kann player, I've said this before, but usually what I kind of assume when someone starts with the Caro-Kann against me is that they just want to get their nice solid Caro structure, shuffle around their pieces, and play an endgame with me. And that's what makes this line so powerful against the Caro. It gets them so out of their comfort zone and into ours. And unlike the gambit lines, there's really just no need to sacrifice material for an attack. Another thing to note about the Accelerated Panov is that we'll usually end up with an isolated queen spawn. If you're unfamiliar with how to play an isolated queen spawn position, here's what you need to know. First, you're on a timer. You need to attack quickly. Secondly, your opponent's goal when you have an isolated queen spawn is to get to the endgames. After all, if they get to the endgame, obviously you can't attack anymore, and they have a very obvious target, which we don't. So we want to avoid piece trades like the plague. You can have like a mental ticker in your head if you want, where every time you trade an attacking piece off, the stockfish eval goes down by like 0.5, I don't know, whatever helps you. Just remember, you're on a timer and you don't want to trade things off. You want to keep improving your pieces. What else? Your bishops are going to be amazing when you have an IQP. You should develop them to active squares and attack your opponent's king. The b3 square is open in IQP positions, so you can form a battery targeting your opponent's king. Your opponent's c-file is open. This normally wouldn't be a big deal, but your opponent is a Caro-Kann defense player. They're not used to having an open c-file, they're used to having a Caro-Kann structure. So I find that even good players will hang a ton of tactics on this file. I have an example I'm going to show in the next video, a very common position where 10% of players are going to hang their queen. The average rating for that blunder is about 1900. Another thing to point out is that IQPs can give you some really good outposts for a knight. In this opening specifically, we're more interested in e5 for a knight. The reason being they're probably not going to castle queenside, and they would have to push their f-pawn if they were going to kick our knight. What else? Don't worry too much about defending the pawn, focus on attacking, pushing it. You can use it as a kamikaze pawn if you want. Your opponent's going to try to play really boring and really solid. If you take one thing away from this, when you have an IQP, don't let the game get boring. Just keep throwing stuff at them, keep making it interesting, force them kicking and screaming into an interesting game of chess. And the final bit about the IQP I wanted to discuss is arguably the most important, and that is very similarly to when we play gambits. When we consent to having the IQP, We need to get used to taking the engine analysis with a grain of salt. Like gambits, the engine has a lot of trouble understanding the kind of attacking positions that come from IQPs. And when I say things like this, I'm not trying to say, oh, my openings are so mystical and magical and complicated that they're even too much for the engine, right? It's actually the exact opposite. The engine is actually just too good. For example, this is the main line of the Accelerated Panov, and in the episode on this line, I'll be recommending the sideline Queen A4 check. Now you may notice, this opening is a very popular sideline at the Grandmaster level and scores pretty well. So why do almost no normies play it? The reason is twofold, I guess. First of all, this just feels like a move that a beginner would play. It feels very newbie. But secondly, and more importantly, usually when you play this line, the engine will throw up a number like -0.2, -0.1, and I think that dissuades a lot of people from playing lines like this. And to explain this, there are a few things I'd like to talk about. First of all, the model of Stockfish I'm on is 17.1 if you're following along. You'll see there's this plus sign if you want the engine to think longer, and next to it is the depth of the analysis. This is depth of 44, and notice it says cloud after it. This is because Lichess actually uses a crowdsourced version of Stockfish. What does that mean? Whenever someone hits this plus and lets it think for a long time, that analysis gets saved and then it gets given to you. So someone has analyzed this to depth 44. What does that mean? What is 44? This is how many turns deep the algorithm searched. To be clear, when I say turns, I mean I move and then you move, not turns in a notation sense. So a depth of 44 means it searched 22 notation moves deep. So until move 27, and then from its search algorithm has identified a few critical variations. So with all that in mind, the reason that the engine tends to be biased against gambits and against IQP positions, half gambits if you will, is because it's searching until move 27. And like we were talking about earlier, if you find yourself with an isolated queen spawn, right, this one, not this one, in this variation we'll get 2 kamikaze pawns, we'll talk about it when we talk about it. When you find yourself with an isolated queen spawn, you don't want to trade pieces off and you don't want an endgame, because your opponent already has a target and you don't. So if you're a search algorithm looking into the future, by default, that implies more piece trades being closer to an endgame, so the eval is going to slightly favor black. It's just a symptom of how these things work. Now obviously, if it's saying you're like -0.9, there's probably something concrete there, right? If the engine is telling you you're hanging a knight, you're probably hanging a knight. But a good best practice to make sure that the engine isn't just being weird and subjective is to actually come to the line that it's basing its analysis off of, come to the end of it like this, and hover over. This is the position it's saying is -0.1 for black. From a quick scan, I would be very happy to have this position out of an opening, but I also don't think a human would play into it. Looks like we have a huge lead in development, space, we're up a pawn. Our opponent's fianchettoed, but it should be really easy for us to trade that off. After something like queen h5, we still have our kamikaze pawn. Yeah, so the engine is saying -0.1, but the actual position it's showing is ridiculous. The point is, make sure to sanity check your engine, especially if you're playing an opening recommended on this channel. Going back to our starting position, another thing to note is that if you've watched my video on the Scandinavian, in the Scandinavian defense, after you take the pawn, they have the option of playing c6. This is known as the Blackburn Gambit. If you play the Accelerated Panov, a cool like passive buff you get is you also never have to deal with this gambit because you can just play c4 and then transpose into the Accelerated Panov. If you think your Caro-Kann opponents are going to be out of theory in this, your Scandinavian defense playing opponents are going to be way out of theory in this line. Back to our starting position, after we capture, they capture, and we capture, the other option they have is going to be knight f6. This, as you can see, is by far the professional's choice, but is not played too commonly at the amateur level. The average rating of capturing with queen appears to be 1731. The average rating with knight f6 is 1951. In the next videos, we'll be going over the queen takes and knight f6 lines more in depth. Those are pretty much the fundamentals of this system.